Hello and welcome to my iPad video, and try and make this iPad run without batteries. Might be applicable to other iDevices as well. I made this previously. There's an iPhone 5 which has been modded to run without battery in similar fashion as to how this is working. With this very simple method of doing it, let's see if, first of all, why would you even want to do something like this? Why would you want an iPad without any batteries in it? The battery life is like one of the key features to it. Well, for example, if you want to have it, say you want to use it in, mount it in a car, for example. The car can get very, very hot during the summer, during a hot summer's day. And you might not want to explode burny lithium batteries in it, and you might feel a little bit safer without it. Or, as is might likely happen to this one, it's going to be mounted on a wall, like so, in the home. It doesn't really hurt to have batteries in it. In that case, it shouldn't be a problem. But for something, for what you call it, peace of mind and whatnot. And also, this iPad is this is an iPad Air first generation, so it's pretty old. And for some reason, the charging port had stopped working on it, and it wouldn't recognize anything you plugged in. It either said like this thing is not recognized, or it said nothing at all when you plugged something in. So the only way to charge it was to turn it off, plug the charger in, turn it off. Then it would charge ever so slowly, very, very, very slowly. In 24 hours, you could get like half a battery's worth of charge into it, maybe. Problem is that if it's dead and it's turned off and you plug the charger in, then it would start up. And as soon as it booted up, it would realize, I don't know what this charger thing is. I'm not going to charge from it. So it would stop charging and it would die. So you would need to catch it and shut it down properly, and so on. But that's not why we're here. That's just how this ended up, like this. So we can do a little just how I did this first. So here we have, under this piece of electrical tape I put here to insulate. Something is not really necessary, this bit I don't think, but if we could get it out. I have not prepared any tools, so I just realized for this, but come on, thank you. So what I have here is the BMS, the battery management portion of the original battery. The battery usually sits there, and it has tabs for plus minus, plus minus. There are two identical battery packs in these. Plus minus terminal, and I've soldered on little cables here on the plus terminal. And what I've done in this one, in the iPhone here, is to use both plus and minus through the BMS, and it's working completely fine. However, this one, what I think happened was that I did this. I soldered on to the plus and minus here for both batteries, and I did this thing, fed it power. It booted up once. It booted up, and then it died, and it said, showed the charge me thing, and then it never gave any life sign again. So what I think there happened is, due to the voltage fluctuating like very much during my little test here, was that the battery management thing said that this battery pack is not to be trusted. I'm not going to let any power through whatsoever, because by measuring and probing around here, I found that both of these are directly connected to the plus terminal underneath the connector here. However, the minus connection is severed. There's nothing. So figured I got nothing to lose at this point. I thought it was dead. The iPad, I fried it or something, but no. If I just grounded it somewhere else, and thereby bypassing all of this, I'm only using the BMS really as a connection to the battery connector. So I soldered it onto there, and it booted up, and it is working. Oh, a little schematic. We put this back here. My little insulating thing. Put that back. And the schematic for this is like really, really simple. We have a 5 volt supply with plus and minus. And what I found works is using one of these. This is from IKEA. This is IKEA, correct pronunciation. IKEA. Yes, it's called, what is it called? Class 2 3 USB charger Koppla. 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 Koppla as in connect. Or, sort of as in connect. So, this works, and that goes to, like so, to diodes. Which is right here. So here is a little crevice, a little emptiness inside the iPad where I could fit my 2 diodes. So they are just soldered onto the cable coming in from the back there. Maybe a glue to hopefully hold it down somewhat. And then from the diodes it goes to the BMS, and the BMS of course has connections for battery 1 and for battery 2, and it has plus and minus for both. We don't use the minus, but it goes like that to the plus terminal on each of those, and then we have this just goes to ground right there. That's a schematic. It's nothing more complicated than that. However, I found here during my testing and trying to get this to work, this thing is really sensitive to voltage drops. If the voltage drops below 3.3 volts, it immediately dies and restarts. The diodes I'm using are these. I think any diode that could handle the current would do. So this one is marked IN5408. But yeah. Anything that has a decent, these are rated for 3 amps, I think, and they're going to get hot if you pass 3 amps through them. But I've tested it on the bench here. I've not tested it properly quite yet, but I've tested it on the bench, and it seems to run fine with maximum brightness and doing a few things. However, it's a bit difficult to test it. It has been a bit difficult to test it because these are not easy to disassemble. Here's what happened to the original digitizer. It did not go well. Started very carefully, hairdryer, I'm trying to warm it up and just very carefully working my way around here. But nah, I wasn't patient enough or careful enough, I suppose. Oh, I need a few tools. I need a little screwdriver, basically, is what I need to do this, and maybe... I don't know, I haven't put one of these back together yet, but I've ordered a new digitizer. So that's here. That's right there. Try not to get fingerprints on the underside of it. Top side is fine because there's a protective film. Now it's time to assemble this. Try. And here's my little... so I don't have one of those fancy magnetic things. I just have a piece of paper and some tape where I marked and written down what all the screws are and where they're supposed to go and such. Okay. Oh, trying to assemble it then. I think that you start with the digitizer because the cables for that run underneath the screen, I believe. See if I can find a proper screwdriver or something that is close enough. This might be it. See here. These screws I don't need anymore. Those are for the lightning connector, which I've torn off. That's also something that I've learned through trying to do this, is that I wanted to have the power cable coming in through here. Since the lightning port wasn't working anyway, so I chopped it off and removed it. But the thing is that it is very, very, very tight fit here beneath the screen, between the screen and there. So there's basically no room. I tried to have a very, very small cable, and I just sort of got it to fit. But then the problem was that there was too much voltage drop on that cable, so it was very unstable. It didn't work. So what I have now is like regular power you have for your lights and stuff. I think it's 0.75 square millimeters, maybe something like that, which I've soldered onto the diodes and onto ground, not via the diodes, but onto ground and onto the plus terminals of the BMS. And you could probably get it to work via the BMS as well, but I think what happened was that when the voltage will obviously fluctuate quite a bit since they're going through diodes. So depending on how much power it is drawing, the voltage will fluctuate. It doesn't seem to mind very much as long as you don't drop beneath 3.2 volts. Oh, little screw, goodbye to you, we don't need you. I'm also a little bit worried about this connector right there. That's the connector for the home button. And it is one of these zero insertion force connectors. So it's supposed to have a little tab on it there that you pop up, and then you can pull the cable out. But regrettably, that had over the years here merged with the cover here. That's supposed to go there. So it's still right there. Right there is where it is. So I can see that one of the pins is slightly bent upwards. And I do not understand why the home button needs like 18 pins or whatever it is. It seems to me that one or two ought to do it. But who am I to question these things? So we try and get this thing on. It's supposed to go on like so eventually. And before let's see here, there is lots of things to peel off and everything, isn't there? Yeah, there is quite a bit of things to peel off. Let's see if we can't, if we shouldn't maybe, yeah, these separate peels, things to peel off for the cables, and then there's something to peel off for the frame. Let's see here, let's see if it works first of all. Try and see if it works. And these are a little bit fiddly here to get in, but you need to push them, but you don't want to push on them when they're not in the correct position, because the little pins are so very small and fragile, and they might bend and whatnot. You're supposed to go there, and you're supposed to go here, I believe. The length doesn't seem quite right. It doesn't seem quite. Yeah, I don't know what the brand here on this replacement digitizer is. It said it was premium. They sold two different digitizers where I bought this from. They had this one, which was the most expensive one, and they had one that was called. So this one's called premium, and they also had one labeled OEM. I have a very hard time believing that it's actually is original equipment manufactured that should mean that it is the same supplier that Apple uses, but I highly doubt it that that's the case. Anyway, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, this has something to peel off too, so that's supposed to attach to the screen right there, but we just plug it in here for the time being and see. Aren't these on like the wrong? Wait, aren't these on the wrong side? What's going on? No, it's the same on the original one. Okay. It would seem to me that the connection ought to be that way, but it can't possibly be. Right, and here comes, since this one is broken now, I don't even know. But maybe this is now not only zero insertion force, it's zero force everything to get it out and to get whatever. So before we peel off all the sticky tape and everything, I'm going to plug the screen in and sort of put it together, see if it still works, and everything like that. Come on, little connector. Thank you. I believe that is how it's supposed to go. Later. Fold. Yeah, that's supposed to be glued into there, but that's okay. There. Seems to fit somewhat. Power. Power supply. There, and nothing happens when you plug it in that way because it's just a battery, really. See if it turns on. Looks quite promising so far. Of course, before gluing all this down and everything, we need to clean the screen carefully. Any speck of dust or anything that gets trapped in there will be there for the foreseeable future. So we want to try and be careful. Right, you seem to boot up. I actually I do have a somewhat proper but somewhat real security code on this. But yeah, I could enter it and it seems to be working. Does it not? Yes, it does. The home button is not working. What a shame. What a shame. How the crap. There's supposed to be a virtual home button that you can enable somewhere. Where is it that you find that again? They moved it around. I've forgotten where it is. Assistive touch. Assistive touch. There you go. Now we have a home button. Or, yeah, you're supposed to be a home button. Thank you. Oh, you're not working as a home button. You don't really need to do anything but be a home button. Whatever. The important bit is that it is working, except for the home button, which I had a little bit of doubts about. Oh, turn it off again, and try to assemble this. Sure. Try to assemble this. We can either remove the screen or we can fold it over there. I think that we remove the screen. How are you supposed to do this? We remove you again carefully. I'm pretty sure that once I remove this film, it gets like really fucking sticky, and it will stick to absolutely everything. Sure, but how to crease the cable? Try and avoid. Also try not to break the digitizer in the first place when removing it. Can't help but feel that I'm slightly breaking it or doing something that's not supposed to be done to it. Preferably somewhat straight. There. Something like that. It must be the way it's envisioned to be done. Now then, this is supposed to be glued in somehow to something, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose it is. Pull the power out. There you go. But But there's nothing like holding this in place. Also, it hasn't seated quite right, and it's not. I don't think it's going to seat quite right. When all this is put together, it won't be subject to a whole lot of stresses. But before it is put together here, it might be subject to a few stresses. A bit of a difficulty. I can't really get the screen connector on and do that work without disturbing this here. Could put a bit of glue on it and put a clamp on it and wait 8 hours. It's probably would most probably be the most prudent thing to do. Okay, I don't know. Try and put this back and see what we can do. Since I've had it disconnected, I should really make an attempt to boot it. See if it's working. And this is for the lid for this. Or rather, these are for the lid. Yeah. Don't even attempt this without magnetizing a screwdriver first, or if you have like proper magnetized screwdrivers. If you don't have a properly magnetized screwdriver, you can use the magnet out of an old hard drive. There. There. We now have a magnetized screwdriver. Not many Newton meters of force on these screws. I don't even know if they probably have a torque spec in the official repair or assembly manual. But it's not a lot. There. And right. Now that it is put together again. Yeah. Try and be careful here with the home button thing that has already it's come out. Oh, you little piece of rubbish, hopelessly small, hopelessly fragile little thing. If we can't do something about holding you in place just a little bit better. My old friend, the electrical tape, comes out. Not quite that much, just a little bit. There, and then just try and put the piece of electrical tape all over this. There, it only needed to be held in place. Only needed to be held in place. Yeah, sure. There, obviously be careful not to scratch the screen and stuff like that, because this is pretty sensitive here, unprotected. Go on. There, and 2 more screws. Ah, come on, little screw. There. That's all the screws. I'm going to check functionality again. Where did you? There you are. There you are. The home button might actually be working. That's not how it works. You have to push here. Yes. Try again in 1 minute. That's enough. We know that it's working. Right, I can, if we lock it, turn it off, but lock it there and then use the home button. Yes, it is working. Very good. Now you want to be a little bit quick here as well, I believe, since it is collecting dust. That, I don't know what the point of that was. But yeah, we start peeling off this. Right, that goes on the other side here, obviously. Of course it does. I got the fingerprint on the screen. Very good work. I suppose you have to line it up here pretty carefully. So once you put this down, it's sort of where it's going to stay, isn't it? Yeah, this is completely within my comfort zone. This seems to be something that should have been peeled off. What is this? It's a piece of plastic film. This is pulling way too much on my poor little home button cable that is only held on with a little piece of electrical tape. Now this is going downhill now. Why would you do it like this? Thank you. Be careful now. Put this back here. Just as nice and straight as it was. There you go. All of that is now removed. I think now is the time where you want to be quick about it and not get any dust or fingerprints or anything of the sort onto here. But I've already gotten a few fingerprints onto the screen, maybe. Yeah, my home button cable, it does not look right whatsoever. No, where's all that supposed to go when you close this down? I don't think it's still working. I think it's come out. It is inactivated. Please work, home button. It still works. Good. And I'm more than happy to leave it like so. Oh, yes. And so on, but there it is. Now it is together. It is not coming apart again. Without great what you call it, annoyance. It is working. It is inactivated. I have to try again in 1 minute, so it apparently remembers that, even though it has been completely without power for a bit. There, old digitizer. We can say goodbye to that too. That home button doesn't quite have the same feel to it as the original does, but it will probably do the trick. Also, when you remove the protective film, it might get better. How much of this? Not too much of this is showing through. There we go. Now see if I can unlock it. There we have it. Shut up. That's an iPad without batteries, running off power. Yeah, that's it. It's working, I believe. It's a bit slow. It's an iPad Air first generation. Yes. Search. Search for this here. It doesn't even autocomplete my channel name. Come on. I have 360 something subscribers. Let's see here what it's up to. Yeah, it seems to be working. Turn the volume up all the way, and also turn the screen brightness up all the way and see if it's still... I mean, it seems to be working. What can I say? The speakers are most certainly working on it too. Probably gets a bit hot here where the diodes are, but not too hot. Shouldn't. I've had this running on the bench like this for hours and hours and hours. So there it is. It is now finished. That's how I made my iPad run without batteries, batteryless. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.